Hey, it's that time of year again where you can win up to $2,500 in prize money by supporting Prairie View Athletics at the same time. All you have to do is register for the Prairie View Athletic Club annual raffle ticket prize giveaway. Simply dial 936 857 5817. $1,000 first prize, $750 second prize, third prize is $500, and fourth prize is $250. Call and register today, 936 857 5817. Prairie View Athletic Club, proudly serving Prairie View Athletics since 1986. That number again, 936 857 5817.
And welcome back to the Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union Hotline. Of course, it is our Pick'em segment, and we are happy to have with us on the line today Coach Van Petaway. And Coach, before I ask you how you doing, have them hickeys gone down from that whipping you received this past weekend, sir?
Not at all. My backside is still blistered, and it seems like there's no let up in sight.
Well, I told you, I tried to give you a fair warning, sir. It was redemption week. And, man, I went against the grain, Coach, but it paid off for me in a mighty big way this past week. It's a mighty big way. And but I guess of all the letdowns, man, your Bulldogs missed the mark, Coach.
Yes, we did. I think our team never really got off the bus. That was Grambling did what they had to do. We just did not show up. I was disappointed in the loss, but you take that as a learning experience for those young men, and hopefully we'll be ready to play this weekend.
Well, you say you got to forget it. You can't let that game beat you twice. You know what I mean? You got a real special weeks left in the season, and as I said, you gotta forget more than you can remember. You can't use your own press clippings, and it'll be interesting to see how those guys bounce back. And speaking of bouncing back, Coach, I guess we'll start this thing off with the MEAC this week. And before we do that one more time, what about them Georgia Bulldogs?
Well, we knew who they were before we picked them. We both picked them, and they went to work on Arkansas. I don't think anybody saw that coming. I mean,
no, Arkansas didn't even see it coming.
Right. A lot of us picked Georgia to win the game, but I don't think anybody expected Georgia to beat them like they did, and to
not as thorough as they did. As thorough as they did, and it was just amazing. So with that being said, sir, let us roll over to the MEAC and let's see what our matchups look like this week.
Okay. On Friday, the MEAC kicks it off with Morgan State and Howard. That's the 8th. That's this Friday. They play on a Friday in the MEAC instead of that Thursday date. I guess with Morgan State going to Howard, that's going to be a very interesting game. And
it's going to be very interesting because Howard fooled both of us last week.
Yeah, that's true.
With the win over Sacred Heart.
Right. But I'm going to stay with the home team this time. I'm going with Howard.
You going with Howard?
Right.
Howard and Morgan. You know what? I'm feeling the Bison might keep rolling as well, Coach, and we'll let the Bison walk in agreement on that one. We'll stick with the Bison.
Okay, and then next up on Saturday you got Virginia University versus Delaware State. They're at Delaware State, rather. In this one, I'm going to stay with the home team. I'm going with Delaware State.
Yes, sir. Delaware State should win. They also pulled a rabbit out the hat last week as well, which is good for me and bad for you, Coach, because we won't reminisce on last week. We're going to keep moving forward. So we're in agreement with Delaware State, though.
Okay. And then next up, you got Tennessee Tech and North Carolina Central. Now, North Carolina Central is a team that really let me down. I thought that they were ready to play, and I guess making that trip to Itta Bena is not for everyone. And they lost this weekend, but they're hosting Tennessee Tech, and I'm going to go with the home team this time, North Carolina Central.
Well, I believe Trey Oliver, head coach of North Carolina Central, learned a very valuable lesson on last week. and I don't think he's going to be snake bitten twice. You know, he did some. I'm going to touch on this just for a minute, Coach. I think he made a couple of coaching decisions during that game where he underestimated or, let's say, disrespected Valley, and it cost him at the end. At the end of the first half, you have 2 seconds remaining in the first half. You're up on the road 10-3, and you go for a Hail Mary pass. It gets intercepted and returned for a touchdown to tie the game up at the half.
Wow.
And it was a very physical game, and Valley won that game, Coach, with 2 seconds, 1 second left, and they got a 2-yard touchdown pass, and got the PAT to take the 17-16 lead.
Wow.
And I think Oliver still has the bad taste of Ed Abena in his mouth, and I think they're going to take care of business this weekend. I went all around the mulberry bush, but I had to make that point. They underestimated the Delta Devils. It cost them. They'll redeem themselves this week.
Okay, we're in agreement on that one. Then next up, we got South Carolina State and Florida A&M. With Florida A&M being the home team, they got a pretty good reputation of winning at home. So I'm gonna stay with the home team, Florida A&M, this week.
Well, I think we're going to have our first split of the week, sir. I think FAMU will go in. I believe they're getting their feet underneath them right now. They scored 28 points. As a matter of fact, they pitched a shutout defensively, caused Alabama State to make some moves at getting rid of their offensive coordinator. And I think Coach Willie Simmons and the Rattlers will strike again on the road.
No. The game's in Tallahassee, so they're the home team.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. Forgive me. Well, I said all that to say that I'm going with FAMU.
Right. Well, we're in agreement on that. I'm with FAMU.
Yes, sir.
Also.
Yes, sir. I was thinking they were on the road for some reason.
No. The schedule says at Tallahassee. So now
it's
time for us to venture over to the SWAC. And in the SWAC, I just want to say, yes, it is. It's going to be a very interesting week. And I just know that like I said, I thought my Bulldogs did not come ready to play. But for the most part, other than that game, you and I, we saw everything the right way.
Yes,
but
sir.
This week in the SWAC, we got up first, you got Grambling at Alcorn State. And I think Grambling, they're riding high after beating Alabama A&M. But now it's time to go to the reservation. I think the Braves will be setting up an ambush for them. So I'm going to stay with Alcorn this week.
You know what, Coach? And I was looking at this game, and by far, from my own personal opinion, two of the better coaches in this conference going head-to-head, dealing with their own personal baggage that both of them have had to deal with. And of all the coaches, Fobbs has had the most success against McNair.
Mm-hmm.
And man, oh man, it's hard for me to go against either of these guys, but given the circumstances, only because, and I can't even say because they're at home, Coach. Wow. You know what, Coach? I believe that Grambling just might pull this road victory off.
Okay.
They made the quarterback change, went with Noah. Yep. He was exceptionally well. Of course, you saw that firsthand.
Oh, yeah.
And I think Grambling is going to pull it off because Fobbs has had McNair's number, and I can't see it being. It's going to be close, but I'm going to ride with the Tigers on this one, so I'm going to ride with the Tigers.
All right. Next up, we got Arkansas Pine Bluff traveling to Montgomery to play against those Hornets of Alabama State. And I think after last week, I think the Hornets are hungry. I think the Hornets are ready. And I'm going to have to stay with the home team. I'm going to Alabama State for the simple fact that Arkansas Pine Bluff is underperforming this year.
So you're going with Arizona, Alabama State?
Correct.
I believe it is a state of emergency at Alabama State. They fired their OC. Ely, I don't know how he does it. He's got to be the most one-year coaches that I've seen since I've been really paying attention to this stuff. 1 year after 1 year after 1 year. And I think the pressure is on. But I really believe that Pine Bluff is slightly better. And I'm going to go with Pine Bluff on the road.
Okay.
Pine Bluff on the road.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Next up, this one will help you out a lot. Jackson State at Alabama A&M for A&M's homecoming. On this one, because of homecoming, I'm going to say the Bulldogs are going to reach back and do what they need to do to win this ball game. So I'm with my Bulldogs.
I'm going to more than likely agree with you this week on this one. And I think, and I could be wrong, Coach, maybe you could help me out. I think because Coach Maynard may have been anticipating this one more and kind of slightly let Graham sneak up and bite him, that he really wants this game because of the head coaching situation. I think he feels that he's just as good, if not better, than any coach, in particular Coach Sanders, and he's going to go out his way to prove that. I think he's going to pull every trick in the basket out to pull this one out, and I can see the Bulldogs redeeming themselves for homecoming as well. So I think the Bulldogs will pull it out.
Okay, good. We're in agreement on that one. Next up, we got Mississippi Valley, the surprise team of last week, versus Bethune-Cookman in Daytona.
Yes, sir.
The fact that they got to travel all the way to Daytona, I'm going to give the edge to Bethune-Cookman, even though they're struggling, but they play well at home. So I'm going with Bethune-Cookman.
And, sir, I'm going to keep on riding that Delta Devil Express.
Ooh.
Yes, sir. I know it. I know it, Coach. I know it's a tall order, but I told you a couple of weeks ago, and they proved it this past week, Coach. Those Delta Devils don't quit under Vincent Danson.
I got you.
And they've tasted something that they hadn't tasted in a while. They got a quality win over an opponent that they were not expected to win. And because Bethune-Cookman has been underachieving, in my opinion, they've been my dark horse. I thought they were going to do a lot better than what they've proven. But they've proven to me that you can't determine what teams for the Wildcats are going to show up from week to week. And I'm just thinking that the Delta Devils are going to stay high for another week and pull out the road win, sir, regardless if they're going to have an 11, 12-hour bus ride.
Gotcha. All right, well, we disagree on that one. And then next up, we got the Southern Jaguars coming out to Texas Southern. Well, it's going to be in Arlington. Southern and Texas Southern. I'm going to go with Southern on this one.
Yes, sir. I'm going with Southern. Now, you know, Southern has made a quarterback change as well.
Right, correct.
And so has Texas Southern. And the young man, Body is his name. He is going to be a pleasant surprise to those who have yet to see him play. But I think Southern has a lot more wood in the shed that they'll pull this one out in Arlington.
Okay. So we're together on that one. And then, of course, the last game, we've already discussed it on the MEAC side, South Carolina State at Florida A&M. So we gave that pick under the MEAC. So
yes, sir, under the MEAC side. We both picked FAMU on that one.
Correct. So that brings us to the end this week, and your beloved Panthers are off this weekend.
Oh, yeah, they're getting rested up so they can go on to Bethune. So they're going to watch Mississippi Valley dissect Bethune-Cookman. Then we'll go down there and just sweep them and put them out the misery.
Okay, I got you. Well,
now, who's going to be our SEC game, sir?
Oh, okay. Yeah. Once again, Georgia and Auburn have a big matchup this weekend. So we got Georgia at Auburn in a big matchup of SEC teams. And I'm going with Georgia on this one, number 2.
Oh, I'm going with Georgia too. We almost gonna have to put Alabama and Georgia in that same category, man, because I just don't see nobody other than Alabama really giving them a run for their money. I really
like
don't.
Alabama. I like Alabama, but after watching Georgia's defense, man, it's gonna be tough. It is gonna be tough to try to score on that group, boy. They really
Yes, sir. And I won't say and go as far as say they'll pitch another shutout, but they say the points are going to be few and very much limited. And being on the SEC subject, sir, I was so disappointed, Coach. Have you ever witnessed something and you couldn't believe what you were witnessing? You turned away and you went back just to see. You knew it was bad, but you looked back just to see, did it get any better, and it just got even worse?
That has happened a time or two.
Coach, the Missouri Tigers, you know I'm from St. Louis, Missouri.
Yeah.
I grew up watching the Tigers, and they were such a disappointment. And I said this when they first came over to the SEC, and I'm going to continue to see it. The Missouri Tigers are not an SEC program. I am sorry. And first I was saying they were a better fit with the Big Ten. But after further review, they really need to see if the Big 12 would consider taking them back, because they are in deep above their heads, sir. And that Tiger boat is sinking and sinking fast.
Wow. Yep. They're struggling. And the future doesn't look any brighter for them.
No, sir.
SEC is by far the best conference in football, and they're playing like it. They got 4 or 5 teams that can play with anybody in the country.
Yes, sir. And, you know, with the scope of things, everybody's saying that it's becoming minor league football, and they sure got the talent pool to prove it. 6 first-round drafts that came from Alabama alone, and when you go up and down the SEC rosters, those are men amongst boys.
Oh, yes.
You know, so it's very, very intriguing. And speaking of intriguing, Coach, we get to that halfway point of the season. Do you think your Bulldogs got enough in the tank to hold things off, sir?
I hope so. I really hope so. Unfortunately, I will not get an opportunity to see this game this week. I'll be on the road. One of my former players passed, and they're having his funeral on Saturday in Atlanta, Georgia. So I'll be in Atlanta with the Malone family, and my hearts and prayers go out to them. Costa was one of the biggest players I've ever coached. He played center for me. He won 3 championships. He was a starting center on 3 consecutive championship teams and 3 NCAA appearances. So he meant a lot to me and our program, and I'm going to be with his family this week. Instead of the boys meeting here in Huntsville, we'll be meeting in Atlanta for his home going. So my thoughts and prayers are with the Malone family.
Yes, sir. We're truly sorry to hear that, Coach, and I know that's like losing a surrogate son when you coach these young men and they move on with their lives. And anytime you get someone that you coach that came under your tutelage, it's too soon to see them depart and go to the other side. So we'll definitely be praying for your safe travels and return. And our condolences are definitely out with the Malone family as well. Oh, wow. Well, on that note, Coach, it reminds us that we embrace each other while we can, for as long as we can. Absolutely. And we enjoy the moments that we get a chance to fellowship with one another, which is always a joy that whenever you and I get a chance to get together. And we appreciate you so much. And we thank you. We thank you. And just to cheer you up a little bit, maybe by next week the lumps will go down a little bit and you'll be able to bounce back on this thing. But I told you that Prince Express train was coming, baby. You heard that choo choo, you know. So it's ready to roll, baby. Ready to roll.
Yep, and you're doing an outstanding job of rolling too. I can feel that heat. I can feel the heat.
Well, Coach, look, as always, we appreciate you joining in with us here on the Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union Hotline. I want you to stay safe, sir. Travel safe and return well. And the Lord say the same, and the creek don't rise. We'll do this again next week. Thank you.
The Open Mic Broadcast Network would like to take this time to recognize its sponsors and underwriters: Attorney Lee Van Richardson, Brazos Valley Schools Credit Union, Prairie View Athletic Club, Temple of Refuge Ministries, Reflections Paint and Body Shop, Helping Hands Lawn Service, the Hotline Press newspaper of Hempstead, Texas, Diva Skin Conditioner, Purple Drip Daiquiri and Grill. For more information on how you can become an underwriter or a sponsor here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network, our number to call is 832-213-8824. Serving the community through faith and athletics. The Open Mic Broadcast Network, Prairie View, Texas.